I'm going to do a world record, 1,000 men in 24 hours. What if people don't turn up? But if they don't turn up, they don't turn up.
No sugar coating. A woman claims she slept with 1,000 men in 12 hours. A major British network turns it into a primetime documentary. Viewers vomit, advertisers pull out, regulators scramble, and within days, the star at the centre of it all...
When you're out with your wife, do not show any attention to other women. You want her to think that she's the only one you're attracted to. And, well, we know that's not the case, but we want to keep the secret.
Bonnie Blue finds herself banned, blacklisted, and branded the filthiest headline of the year. This isn't just a story about a documentary. It's about shock, exploitation, public morality, and the fallout when controversy collides with mainstream television. When Channel 4 announced they were airing 1,000 Men and Me, the Bonnie Blue story, it sounded like one of those late-night, edgy docudramas that push buttons but pass quickly. Nobody expected the firestorm it unleashed. The premise was simple on paper. Bonnie Blue, an adult performer with a reputation for chasing viral stunts, told the world she set out to sleep with 1,057 men in just 12 hours. Instead of treating this as internet gossip or fringe material, Channel 4 packaged it as a serious documentary.
So I'm the girl that's out with 1,057 men, and there's 1,057 guys which are potential dads.
They aired it after the 9 p.m. watershed, slapped on a content warning, and called it journalism. But Britain wasn't having it. Within minutes of airing, Ofcom was flooded with complaints. Viewers called it literal porn disguised as a documentary, the most disturbing thing ever broadcast, and an insult to public decency. Newspapers ran with headlines like "Disgust at Channel 4" and "How far is too far?" Clips went viral on TikTok and Twitter, with people either gagging or laughing at the absurdity. Some said it was exploitation, others said it was empowerment, but everyone agreed it was impossible to ignore. What made it worse? The footage wasn't just Bonnie talking about her claims. It included recreations.
Remember to still sleep with your wife. I know you just slept with a much hotter blonde that's 25 and so much tighter, but you still need to be active with her.
Performances and suggestive visuals that blurred the line between reporting and broadcasting pornography. Advertisers like Visa and Smirnoff, horrified at being associated with the program, yanked their ads overnight. Channel 4 executives defended it, claiming they were pushing cultural boundaries, but critics called it reckless and degrading. Bonnie herself revelled in the attention. On her social media, before it was shut down, she reposted outraged comments with laughing emojis, called herself the Queen of Controversy, and dared regulators to try and silence her. To her, the outrage was proof she was winning, but to the public, it was a red flag.
It's a good job I had to check IDs for the 1,057 because I now need to reach out to them for child support. God, this is going to make me rich.
If this kind of content could air on mainstream TV, what else might be coming next? The scandal quickly moved beyond entertainment. Politicians and watchdog groups started weighing in. The UK's Online Safety Act had just come into effect, aimed at protecting minors from harmful content online. And now here was a primetime documentary making people question if Britain's regulators were asleep at the wheel. Conservative MPs called for investigations. Advocacy groups called it a new low in British broadcasting. And Bonnie Blue became the lightning rod for all of it. Do you believe the public has a right to know even the most disturbing truths?
My favourite would be if your dad gave me one and then you.
Can I go before my dad?
Yeah, okay.
Really? Mm-hmm. My dad, I think he'd love you actually, though. He might want to marry you.
That's okay.
Not me, like him, totally.
I'd quite like to mother you.
Or are there some things that should remain hidden? Let us know in the comments, and make sure you hit subscribe because this scandal is just the beginning. The fallout was swift and brutal. Instagram, already under pressure for its handling of explicit content, banned Bonnie Blue's account again. This wasn't her first takedown. She reportedly had dozens of backup accounts, but this time the ban was permanent. Her reach collapsed overnight, wiping away hundreds of thousands of followers. Then came OnlyFans. Bonnie had been one of the platform's most notorious earners, pushing boundaries with her extreme challenge style of content. But after the Channel 4 documentary and the new wave of backlash, OnlyFans issued a statement. Her account was being deactivated permanently for breaching their terms of service. Specifically, her proposed stunt involving a human petting zoo, where she would lie naked in a glass box for 2,000 men to use, was deemed a violation of community safety. That announcement made headlines around the world. Critics said it was too little, too late. Why had OnlyFans let her build a career on shock stunts in the first place? Why did mainstream TV give her a platform? And why did regulators look the other way until the public erupted? Bonnie's ban became more than just a personal scandal. It became a referendum on the entire adult influencer economy. But while her platforms were crumbling, Bonnie wasn't slowing down. She pivoted to Fansly, started teasing new nurse stunt videos where she dressed in scrubs and joked about draining balls.
I hope that's a consent form so that I can sell this video.
And doubled down on her role as the internet's ultimate provocateur. She mocked her bans, bragged about her backup accounts, and insisted she was unstoppable. The media, however, painted a darker picture. Articles described her as a suicide waiting to happen, a woman spiraling into increasingly dangerous territory for clicks and relevance. Feminist writers called her story a tragic example of how misogyny and exploitation disguise themselves as empowerment. Others argued she was fully in control, gaming a system that rewards outrage, and the audience was the real problem for consuming it. Meanwhile, Channel 4 refused to apologize. Executives defended the documentary as a reflection of our society's obsession with sex.
What subject at school made you the horniest?
Can't think that far back. I'm 42 now, you know.
Oh, sorry, I'm 45, so...
What, you can't tell?
And spectacle. They claimed the program had sparked essential conversations. But critics weren't buying it. Advertisers fled, watchdogs called for tighter regulations, and the documentary became a symbol of everything wrong with modern media chasing shock value at all costs. Bonnie herself became both a villain and a martyr. To some, she was a symbol of female agency, flipping the script on decades of male-dominated exploitation. To others, she was the embodiment of moral collapse. The truth, as always, was messier. A woman who had turned scandal into her currency, but who was also being chewed up by the very outrage machine she created. Bonnie Blue's story isn't just about one documentary. It's about how far society will go for attention, how far media will go for ratings, and how far individuals will push themselves for relevance. The scandal exposed the cracks in our culture, our obsession with sex, our addiction to outrage, and our willingness to blur the line between journalism and exploitation. Think about it. A woman's claim of sleeping with 1,000 men should have been a fringe headline, maybe a Reddit thread, maybe a tabloid curiosity. Instead, it became primetime television, backed by advertisers, defended by executives, and consumed by millions. That says as much about us, the audience.
You said no one had that many people at once. So how did you not know about this? They're called and apparently 18 million people a year pay to get by them.
As it does about Bonnie or Channel 4. Bonnie's ban from Instagram and OnlyFans shows how platforms use morality only when it's convenient. For years, they profited from her content, cashed her checks, and looked the other way. But once public outrage grew too loud, they slammed the door shut, leaving her to pick up the pieces. It's not morality, it's PR management. For Bonnie, the scandal cements her place in infamy. She will forever be the woman who dared to make herself a spectacle, who used her body as performance art, and who turned the darkest corners of desire into viral content. But at what cost? Every scandal burns a little more of her credibility, her mental health, and her future. For Britain, the scandal was a cultural flashpoint. It sparked debates about censorship, free expression, and the role of broadcasters in shaping public morality. Should Channel 4 be punished? Should explicit content be banned outright? Or should society face the uncomfortable truth that people watch, people click, and people feed the very machine they condemn? The truth is, Bonnie Blue is both a product and a warning. She represents the extremes of our viral era, where clout is currency, scandal is marketing, and morality is negotiable. Whether you see her as a victim, a mastermind, or both, one thing is clear. Bonnie Blue's story is not just a scandal Britain will never forget. It's a scandal that forces all of us to look in the mirror. And here's the question for you, because this isn't just entertainment, it's a conversation. Which side are you on? Was this a story that needed to be told, no matter how disturbing, or was it a line that should never have been crossed?